ascension. So today I want to make a hopefully quick video about some frequently asked questions that I usually get from a lot of people, and because I've been getting them recently. And when people usually ask me, they'll send me an email or they'll send me a message on Facebook, because I have a Facebook group community. And I don't have the time to reply to everybody individually, so that's why I thought I'd just make this video so that it goes out to everybody, and it's a message that serves like the larger group rather than just the individual. And basically these are very common questions that I want to address today. And somebody recently asked me 3 questions, and they covered basically these 3 questions. They covered the main areas of our life, and they asked me, why do they have bad health, why are they finding it hard to connect to people, like they're very introverted and they want to go out and meet people, but they're finding it really hard and it hasn't happened for them. And then the third thing was, they were talking about their career and their work, and they were saying how nobody at work is happy with them, their boss isn't happy, and they don't know what to do. And so basically the answer is the same when it comes to everything. And they also asked me, which is another common question, is when will I become self-realized? And they were asking me to ask the guides and stuff, my guides. But you have to understand that this kind of a thing, when it becomes specific for a particular person, it relates to personal services. So you have to make an order for personal services. There's lots of people who reach out to me, and they just want like free advice. But you have to, when you start, the first thing is, when you start respecting yourself fully, then you will know how to respect another person as well, and their time. And that's when the energy in your life will flow properly as well. So everything in our life is about what we are creating at an inner level. So if we're coming from this place of dearth and being a little bit constricted and held back in giving ourselves, then life doesn't really give us. It can't. Life always wants to give you, but when you are constantly vibrating with your energy that I don't have enough, or I don't want to fully commit to something, then you're not, those physical pathways will not open up for you either. But anyway, in this video I'm gonna address all of these questions more generally, and hopefully they can help you. And the truth is that when it comes to anything, when it comes to our health, our friendships and our work, it's the same thing. And especially if all 3 or more than one area is going a little bit down in your life, it really means that there's something at the core that you are not addressing, that is there, and it needs to open up. It needs to be acknowledged at an inner level, and that hasn't happened. So perhaps if we ignore it for a while, it'll affect one area of our life, and then when we keep ignoring it, it'll creep into everything else. Just like, for example, if we get a major health problem, it not only does it affect our health, it'll maybe we can't go to work or be as vibrant in our energy. Maybe it affects our social life. So that's how it is. And not always do they do these things manifest themselves as something very obvious in the physical. So if you're just wondering why everything is going bad all at once, the best thing that you can do is, whenever you feel something negative within you, like you're saying that you have a problem meeting people and putting yourself out there even though you want to, then whatever those feelings, when they come up, just make sure that you are that you go within, acknowledge that feeling. We tend to, what I've noticed is that we're very detached from our bodies, and whenever an uncomfortable feeling comes up, we kind of take our consciousness away from that feeling, and we want to kind of not associate with it. And that's not the way that we integrate anything. And the spiritual process, because people always want to know when they will become self-realized, the spiritual process is about doing the shadow work before you can because lots of people tend to be very excited about the light and the light principles, but all of that is equally, intrinsically connected with your shadow work, with your inner work. You have to face what is there in truth, because spiritual maturity, maturing into your spirituality, it's about being an adult. That's what maturity is. And so adults, they don't run away. That's what an adult is. When you're a child, you need somebody else to take care of you, but an adult means that we have become fully independent. So basically that's what the spiritual path also is that we are no longer looking for the outside to come and fix us, to come and fix our problems. We realize that we are the creator of everything that's happening in our life. And for many people, it can be hard to see this, that they don't understand, because if something randomly is going wrong in their life, or they have an illness, they don't understand how they themselves have created it. There can be all kinds of patterns that we carry within us, that relate to how society has molded us, that is not, often in a positive way. There can be things that we carry from our past life as well. I don't often like to use this term past life, because people can get hooked onto it once they know. But there are certain patterns that humans who have incarnated here over and over again, they've been experiencing in each lifetime that they've had. So it's like, it's kind of like a habit when, imagine how hard it is to give up a habit that you have been doing every single day just in one life. And you've been carrying certain patterns, for so many lifetimes. And that is what is often called karma, which, is not as negative as it sounds. Really, it can be transformed quite quickly, to be honest, when we know how to penetrate to that level, to that core level, and just keep doing that penetrating work. So that is what inner work or shadow work is about. That's why it's really important. When we truly do this at a deep level, then it heals us at a cellular level. There's a cellular awakening that happens. It's not just even the body or your organs. Your cells remember what you are at, at a high level, and then you can bring that into the physical. You can transcend all of these patterns that you have carried, your forefathers have carried, your family history, society, all of it. And you just come into what you are aside from all of this, and just your own presence, God presence shines through, and that's all that there is then. And that is the state of self-realization. But it involves, doing this deep work and being really present and really honest with ourselves first. Like I was mentioning, the best thing that you can do is catch yourself in the moment when you are feeling those negative feelings, or you are feeling triggered by somebody else. And especially if you have a lot of issues like this, they will be coming up all day. You can trust me on this. It will be showing up again and again in your life, because life wants you to be free, and it's constantly doing things, to bring you that freedom. So it'll constantly be bringing you those opportunities which allow yourself to choose, something that is freedom, that is aligned with freedom. So there will be, in all of the people that you meet, you will be getting triggered, somehow. Then things at work would be triggering you. So just whenever that feeling comes up, recognize it, spend some time in the day, even if it's just 5 minutes, to just close your eyes and go into your heart and to name feelings. So name the feeling that you're feeling. Really go deep within and take deep breaths in your heart, slow and deep breaths, and name the feeling. If you're having, let's say, lots of thoughts, because this can happen in the beginning. We have lots and lots of different thoughts that come up and we can't even stop that process. Then don't try and stop it, but just stay as the presence that you are, as the adult that you are, and let those thoughts, that chaos come. And whatever the thought is, find out what the feeling is that's in your heart. The thought might be happening here, but there will be a feeling associated with it, an emotion. So and give it a name. So I would advise you, especially if you have a very busy mind, to give it a name. So for example, if I'm having lots and lots of thoughts right now, I'm not feeling comfortable, then I can give that feeling a name, like, discomfort, and then go further within it and say, maybe sadness, or lack of confidence, whatever it might be. So do this for 5 minutes a day. Just, you can set aside a time to do this for 5 minutes a day. But the best shadow work happens when we are already triggered, when we are feeling something, when we're already feeling, all of those emotions coming up, because they're bubbling up and they want to come out, but we are running away from them. So when they're already there, coming up, bubbling up, it's an excellent time to do shadow work then. And again, be present within it, be that neutral presence. Don't identify with the emotion, with whatever is coming up that is not very pleasant, but you need to be with it, just like you're the parent or the adult, and the emotions that are coming up are a child. And if a child is crying, you won't just abandon them and leave, right? Especially if you're responsible for this child, you will hold them, you will ask them what's wrong, and you will try and work with them. And just basically all we do is we hold them within love and just listen to anything they have to say, even if it's, even if they're saying something that is completely unjustifiable, but it's their feeling. So whatever they're feeling is what they're feeling, and we can't deny it. So we need to this is how we do our inner child work. All of those emotions within us, those childish parts of us that haven't grown up, that are still within this sort of a wound, or in this stuckness, and they feel helpless. We take our adult self there, and we recognize that we are now an adult, and all of these things that we're feeling, we just allow them expression. And that's all you need to do. If you can, and the longer you can stay in that space that is uncomfortable within your body and just sit in it, all of the magic happens there. You don't even need to do anything else, to be honest. So that is how we do inner child work, and try this on your own in any area of your life. And self-realization is directly connected to this. The more sincere that we are with this kind of work, and especially in our everyday life situations. So for example, relationships are a very good example. They might be showing you something. If somebody in your life says something and it triggers you, and you recognize it as truth, they might be coming at you from a place of anger and saying really bitter words, but you recognize that there's a hint of truth there, then just take that truth. You don't have to take the anger that they are projecting at you, but just become neutral. And from that neutral standpoint, you have a neutral perspective, and then you can see that perhaps they're angry and maybe they're not even justified, but what they're saying about you, there's some truth there, and then recognize that. So when we run away from ourselves, we create all kinds of complications in our life. And the path of realization is simplicity. So coming into simplicity is to disentangle from all of this and just pay attention to that core feeling that's going on. So once we hit the negative emotions, then eventually when we keep doing this exercise, there will be core feelings, the essences that come behind it. So for example, if you're feeling a lot of anger, then when you stay within that, one day that anger, behind that you will find out that you're feeling angry because what you want is more action in your life, and you're angry, you're frustrated because you couldn't do it. And then when you hit that point, that it's action, then you know how to apply it in your life. But first, we always begin with the more those uncomfortable, what we call negative feelings, and running away from that does not help. And so, as I was saying, there can be something that is completely different that's happening in your life, in your external life, and when you actually go within, you'll hit layers upon layers. They can be very deep and at a cellular level, and what you find there can be completely different. So don't disregard the importance of this. This is the first phase in our self-realization process, and a very, very important one. And most people don't make it beyond a certain point because they don't want to do the dirty work, But that is like the the biggest thing that holds people back on their ascension process. So I would suggest that if you're having any issues in life in general, that this is something that you can do. And on my blog, I actually have personal services called, especially one that's called Inner Child Work, which is specifically dedicated to this, to getting into the root of any constrictions that are in the body. First we find those constrictions, and then we go within. And like I was explaining, first when you go through the process, you will hit one layer, and then there can be other layers that are there, and you might be surprised at what you find. So the first stage is to do that inner child work. And then the next stage is to put whatever you find, whatever comes up, a truth will be revealed to you. And then you need to take that, and the application is important in your physical life as well. So for example, if you find that you have a certain pattern in relationships, that it's, you were behaving a certain way because of lack of self-worth, and maybe you are not showing up for yourself, and you're expecting your partners to do that, to fulfill that need. Then once we know that, then, and it's always revealed to us very clearly at this stage when that realization happens, within our healing process. And we will know exactly what to do. And then we just need to apply it. And so it's a really beautiful process, this inner child work, this inner child healing. So I hope that I have answered some of your questions. This is basically all that's possible to address in a general way, because the rest is, done through, because if you're a person and you have a specific issue, it'll apply personally. So this is the best that I can do in a general way, and I hope that this helps. And I'll see you again in